Hello students, how are you? Today we are going to discuss about gravitation, continuation, lecture number 4. Today our main topic is Newton's inverse square law of gravitation. What's Newton's inverse square law of gravitation? That the first statement is every body attracts every other body present in the universe. Every body attracts every other body. Remember, gravitational force is only attractive in nature and it attracts every other body present in the universe. Just like planet sun attract each other and also planet also will attract each other. I will explain this one afterwards clearly. And this is called as a qualitative approach. And then the statement of Newton's inverse square law of gravitation is given as the force of attraction. Remember, gravitational force is force of attraction only, whereas electrostatic force is repulsive. Can be repulsive or also can be attractive also. Dear students, the force of attraction between two masses is directly proportional to product of their masses and inversely proportional to square of the distance between their masses. Square of the distance between their masses. If you are combining these two, if you are taking two masses, let's take mass m1 and m2, which are separated by a distance of r. Then A and B, if you are giving a name, A attracts B, B also attracts A. Attractive or repulsive or whatever it is, it's a force, it's a kind of force. Force usually represented by F. This F is proportional to product of their masses m1 and m2, and the second statement is F is proportional to 1 by r square, distance between their masses. By combining these two, we can write, my students, F is proportional to m1 m2 by r square. If you write, F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. What's G? G is called as a universal gravitational constant. Universal gravitational constant. The students, we have to discuss about this universal gravitational constant some few points. G is actually called as a proportionality constant. The name of the proportionality constant is universal gravitational constant. Why the word universal is added here? Because this gravitational force is independent of a medium present between the two masses, and this universal gravitational constant G value is given and found as a 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. This value is constant forever. Today, G value is 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or after 10 years, or before 10 years also, it's same. And it is the same for any two masses. Any two masses you are taking, G value is the same. If I wanted to say, example, if you are taking the moon and earth system, if you are taking, G value is the same. Sun and earth system if you are taking, then also G value is the same. And atom and earth if you are taking, here also the value of G is constant. It is not changing time to time, particle to particle or different masses, it is not different, and it is constant at all. That's what it's called as a universal gravitational constant. Keep that in your mind, my students. And the value of a G, if you want to write in terms of a CGS unit, 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 8 dyne centimeter square per gram square, we can write. It's the value in terms of a CGS units. It's also parallelly important. And I wanted to say a few points regarding the gravitational force of attraction. This gravitational force of attraction is always acts a line joining the two masses. It is always acts line joining the two masses. So it is acts only towards the B in the line joining. It will not act in this manner. I am showing in a dotted lines. And in this manner, it's not as showing in this one. It's not like that. It always line joining the two masses. That's why this is called as a central force. Already I have told you in your previous lectures central force. What's meant by central force? Which produces zero torque is called as a central force. Why? What is the formula for the torque? Torque is equal to R bar cross F bar, and this is RF sin theta. Here theta का वैल्यू जीरो होता है, इसलिए टॉर्क भी जीरो होगा, इसलिए इसको सेंट्रल फोर्स बोलते हैं. इट विल नॉट प्रोड्यूस एनी टॉर्क, any turning effects, no turning effect because of a gravitational force. And as we have explained already in the basic forces lecture, that it's a conservative in nature. And another point, it's always attractive in nature, I told already. And the next point it is, it's another point of this one is, if you wanted to say, it forms a action reaction pair. It forms action reaction pair. How it forms action reaction pair means A is pulled by B and B pulled by A. So they are forming action reaction pair. That means the force acting on one because of a 2, force acting on 1 by 2 is equal to minus of force acting on 2 by 1, you can say like this. It's equal and opposite. These two are not acting on the same body. Not acting on the same body. These two are acting on two different bodies. That's why it's forming an action reaction pair. These two are equal and opposite. Magnitudes are same. ये जितना फोर्स B पे अप्लाई करता है उतना ही फोर्स B भी A पे ही अप्लाई करता है. जो भी हो, मासेस जितना भी कम हो और जितना भी ज़्यादा हो, लेकिन फोर्स एक्ट्स एग्जर्ट करते वाला हमेशा कांस्टेंट रहता है. And if you are going to discuss about the next point, vector form of inverse square law of gravitation. See, this is for that I am going to take this coordinate system. This is M1 and this is M2. This is radius vector R2 and this is radius vector R1. This is called as a radius vector R between A and B. This radius vector R bar you can write in the form R bar is equal to R2 bar minus R1 bar. You keep this aside. See what I wanted to say, the force of attraction between A and B is always acts in the line joining the two masses. That's what if you are representing R1 displacement radius vector of the first one, R2 is radius vector of the second one, R bar is displacement vector also we can call. Vector form में लिखना चाहिए तो if you want to write in the form of vector form, this will be written as A. F bar is equal to minus G M1 M2 by R square into R cap. यहाँ पे आपको एक डाउट आने का चांस है, R cap मतलब क्या है? What's R cap? R cap is called as a unit vector. यूनिट वेक्टर मतलब इसका मैग्नीट्यूड 1 होता है, लेकिन इसका डायरेक्शन एक्टिंग, यूनिट वेक्टर एक्टिंग along the line joining the two masses, line joining the two masses, line joining the two masses. It's R cap. And as you know, R bar F bar is equal to minus G M1 M2 by R square. R cap you can write it as R bar by R. It's a vector by its magnitudes. So this will be modified as F bar is equal to minus G m1 m2 by r cube into r bar, where r bar is the radius vector acting in the line joining of A to B. This is vectorial form. यहाँ पे आपको एक डाउट आने के चांसेस, सर माइनस साइन क्या है? What is the negative sign represents? Here negative sign represents attractive in nature. If the force of attraction, force between two masses is attractive in nature, we will write its a negative sign is a symbol. If it is a repulsive, then F bar is equal to plus G into m1 m2 by r cube आता है. लेकिन हमेशा gravitational force of attraction attractive in nature. This is the inverse square law of gravitation. And if you want to add resultant forces, then you can write F bar is equal to F1 bar plus F2 bar plus F3 bar plus and so on Fn bar. This is, I wanted to say, if you are acting a more than a two masses, if you are present in the system, then the resultant force acting on the system or acting on the body, if you want to give, you have to add individual forces vectorially. We have to add by using vector laws. In many books it is called as a vectorial sum. This is vectorial sum. We called it as a vectorial sum. F bar plus F2 bar plus F bar is equal to F1 bar plus F2 bar plus F3 bar and so on Fn bar. It's a vectorial sum we called. We have to add by using vector laws. That's the first addition of the forces. And how to apply this inverse square law of gravitation, I wanted to explain with the help of one question I am taking. So find question number 1. I am taking one example. I am not dictating the question here, my student. Find F net. Find F net as shown in the figure. Just I am writing the figure and you just follow the figure. What is that? I am taking first simple case. Three masses are kept at the vertices of a equilateral triangle whose side length is, let us take A, that is your choice, A. This is A, capital B. Three masses are kept at the vertices and find the resultant force. Find F net as shown in the figure on A. I am taking A, but if you want to take, you can take A, B, C, that is your choice. देखो A के ऊपर B ने अट्रैक्ट करता है, सो इस अट्रैक्शन की वजह से A के ऊपर फोर्स इस तरफ ऐसे एक्ट करता है एंड C भी अट्रैक्शन करता है. अट्रैक्शन एक अट्रैक्टिव फोर्स होता है, इसके वजह से A B. अगर A B के बीच में जो फोर्स है F1 लिया, A C के बीच में जो फोर्स है आपने F2 लिया, ये F1 एंड F2 ये पे एक बॉडी में एक्ट कर रहा है. अब इस सिचुएशन में क्या लेना है? वेक्टोरियल अलजेब्रा अप्लाई करना है. F1 and F2 cannot be simply added algebraically. You have to add vectorially. That point you have to keep in your mind. लेकिन my students यहाँ पे देखना, ये तीनों मासेस कंसिडर किया तो तीनों मासेस इक्वल है, तीनों को बीच में डिस्टेंस भी इक्वल है. इसलिए मैं सीधा डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ F1 इज इक्वल टू G इंटू m बाय ए स्क्वेयर. ये भी F2 भी होता है क्योंकि C का मास m है, A का मास भी m है, B का मास भी m है एंड ये तीनों का बीच में ये डिस्टेंस है. सो F1 का मैग्नीट्यूड, F2 का मैग्नीट्यूड दोनों भी इक्वली होता है. इसलिए F1 इज इक्वल टू F2 इज इक्वल टू मैंने क्या लिखा, जी एम स्क्वेयर बाय ए स्क्वेयर। एफ सिर्फ मैग्नीट्यूड होता है, लेकिन अभी ए के ऊपर कितना फोर्स एक्ट कर रहा है, मतलब ए के ऊपर दो फोर्सेस एक्ट कर रहा है। On A there are two forces acting, one is F1 and another one is F2. Of course in this question magnitudes of masses and distance between A and B and A and C is the same, that's why F1 magnitude is equal to F2 magnitude, but it's not a compulsory or a mandatory in all ways. So on A there are two forces, एक one F1 है, दूसरा F2 है। सो F1 F2 का बीच में रिजल्टेंट फोर्स करना है। रिजल्टेंट फोर्स के वजह से मैंने F स्क्वेयर इज इक्वल टू F1 स्क्वेयर F2 स्क्वेयर टू F1 F2 cos थीटा। हमने पैरेललोग्राम लॉ ऑफ वेक्टर्स में ये फॉर्मूला लिखा हुआ डिराइव भी किया था। अगर F1 का F2 का मैग्नीट्यूड अगर सेम है तो हम सीधा एक फॉर्मूला डिराइव किया था, F इज इक्वल टू 2F1 cos थीटा बाई 2 होता है। ये फार्मूला इस्तेमाल करके मैंने F नेट, मैंने यहाँ पे ऐसे लिख रहा हूँ, F नेट इज इक्वल टू, मैंने क्या लिखा, 2F1 cos थीटा बाई 2। आपने बोल सकता है थीटा का वैल्यू सीधा 60 डिग्री, क्योंकि ये तो इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल लिया था, इसका ट्रायंगल का नाम इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल। सो अगर ये इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल है तो इसको यहाँ पे 60 होगा, यहाँ पे भी 60 होगा। सो F1 F2 को बीच में एंगल कितना हुआ अभी, 60। मैंने डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे लिख रहा है 2F1, अभी F1 की जगह में ये लिख सकता है, ये ऊपर ही है, ये वाला लिख सकता है, F2 की जगह में भी वो लिख सकता है, ऐसे बात नहीं है। gm स्क्वेयर बाई a स्क्वेयर वी कैन राइट दिस इज इनटू cos 60 by 2 cos 30 value is √3 by 2, this will be √3 into g m square by a square. This will be the answer of this question. This is the answer of this question. Next, in the similar manner I am going to solve one more question. This time I am extending my application. This time I am going to take a 4 masses are present at the vertices of a square. Let's take the vertices A, B, C, D. For a simplicity, I am placing equal masses at the vertices. All masses are same like that. Let's take the length of a square is L, AB L and AB L होगा. All these are L होगा. Find, question is find F net acting on B. See, if you want to find the F net, resultant force acting on a B, this is one force because C will attract B, and this is another force because A also attract. In addition to these two, D also attract. This will act diagonally. This will act diagonally. Now tell me how many forces are acting. One is F1, another one is F2, and the third one is F3. These three forces are acting. As I have explained already in your previous question, the number of forces acting on B is 3. So F1, F2 and F3 should be added according to vector algebra. Not algebraic sum, it should be vectorial sum. For that I am going to explain for that. First of all, what's the magnitude of F1? F1 is equal to G M1, M, M2, also M by distance between them is L square. This is F1, and this you can write it as a G M square by L square. And what's the value of f2? f2 is also g m square by l square होगा, क्योंकि ये तो m है, ये भी m है, इस दोनों को बीच में डिस्टेंस भी l ही होता है, इसलिए जी एम स्क्वेयर. व्हाट आई वांटेड टू कंक्लूड हियर इज f1 is equal to f2, but f3 value is not same as f1 and f2. The value of f3 is equal to g m1, m at b, and m2, m at d, and b and d इस दोनों को बीच में डिस्टेंस कितना होगा? √2 l. This is l, this is l, √2 l square. So square किया तो 2 l square होगा. This is equal to g m square by 2l square. Now I am writing f1 and f2 equal, and f1 and f2 are equal, but their angle between them is 90 degrees. So if the angle between them is 90 degrees, that resultant I am taking, it is f4. f1 and f2 का resultant force or net force f4 I am taking. This f4 is equal to root over of a f1 square plus f2 square. This is equal to √2 f1 you can write. Let's keep this one, it is f1. Let's keep this one is f1. And now tell me, what is the angle between f3 and f4? f3 as usual diagonal, but the resultant of a f1 and f2 will act in the direction of a diagonal, it is angle bisector. The direction of f4 will be acted, and f1 and f3 both are acting in the same direction. Finally the f net is equal to f3 plus f4. f3 is equal to gm square by l square, and f3 is 2l square, plus f4 is equal to √2 into gm square by l square. If you take a common of gm square by l square in both the cases, gm square by l square is taken 1 by 2 plus √2. If you want, you can simplify this one according to the option. Now I am closing this lecture here today, and I will explain few more number of questions based upon this one.